Darante LaMar, and every week I host these conversations as a touch point for connection, inspiration, and growth. I am on an audacious mission to launch communities everywhere that gather weekly for real conversations just like these, free from superstition, free from coercion, and grounded in what makes us more human together. I show up every Sunday for three reasons. Number one, to host conversations that help heal or hit on what really matters to our community, to create spaces where people can gather, connect, and support each other, and to spark a fire in those of you who feel the call to speak, organize, and lead with purpose. My goal is to excite people about the idea of being a better way to connect by building community without superstition. And while today's conversation might feel like church at times, let me be absolutely clear. There are no appeals to deities, no demands for doctrine, and no request to believe what can't be demonstrated. Instead, you'll be encouraged to learn, laugh, and love freely while giving others the grace to do the exact same thing. That's the world-changing work we're building together at Bridge City. And if this is your first time with us, welcome in. Let us know where you're watching from so that our community can show you some love. Let's get into the session. There we go. How are y'all doing today? Welcome in, everybody. Last weekend, we started a new series of conversation that we're calling Homecoming, partly because as a parent of four, this is the season that my household is in as everybody is getting settled back into their school routines, but also because Bridge City Global is in this exciting season of becoming a home that people can connect to. As a matter of fact, you've heard me talking about this for some while now, but we're on the cusp of potentially launching our first local campus, and I'm hoping it'll be the first of many. I'll be meeting with our core team of leaders and members in LA and San Diego. We'll be doing some team building, some training, and vision casting while we're getting settled in a new routine that will be home for many of us. And after talking to the team 2 weeks ago, we realized that there might be other people who wanted to travel. So we've opened up registration for everybody. And then after speaking with Dr. Charles this week, one of our OG supporters, I'm challenging everybody who's tapped in to meet us in California. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think that this might be our moment. You know, this is our homecoming. Come to think about it, the entire philosophy of Bridge City Global is rooted in the idea of coming home, being at home in yourself with others and the world around you. That's that better way to connect, you know? One of the most important teams for Bridge City Campus under the Office of Campus Activity will actually be called Homemakers. Their entire assignment will be making sure that it'll be our hospitality arm to make sure that for everybody who steps on our campus, that they feel like it's home for them, every person we possibly can. So in the spirit of all of that, I've cultivated this series to help all of the people who are connecting to our bridge to get a solid understanding of our purpose, our mission, and our vision. Now, while I am crafty enough to seed some personal encouragement, inspiration, and motivation into the conversations, no mistake about it. My goal is for you to leave this series knowing exactly how Bridge City Global is planning on changing the world. If you're going through BC 101 right now, then this series is your accompaniment guide. Every message of this series is ripped directly from the modules. So last weekend, we kicked it off with, I think we're having a bad connection, highlighting how bad connections cultivate misunderstanding, miscommunication, and even misinformation about other people, and how better ways to connect are actually needed to build experiences that are progressive thinking, people-centric, and life-affirming. Simply put, if we cannot connect, we cannot communicate. And if we cannot communicate, we cannot connect. Last week was off the chain. If you didn't catch that one, go back and watch it so you don't miss out. Communication and connection are dependent on each other. My biggest push right now in Bridge City Global, and everybody listen to me, get on the edge of your seats, lean in. What you waiting on? Lean in. I can see you. One of my biggest pushes right now in Bridge City Global is getting our members to start talking to each other. 500 people talking to me does not a community make. But if we can get those people talking to each other about the vision, about the mission, which we went over last weekend, then you have the spark. Then you have the spark of a true community, not a crowd gathered around one voice, but a movement powered by many voices, learning, challenging, and building together. That's the difference between an audience and an ecosystem. When connection stops being vertical and starts becoming horizontal, the mission stops being mine and becomes ours. Ain't that good? So without further ado, let me go ahead and drop today's title so that we can get into this. If you're not too reserved, if you're not too bougie, if you're not too mean, would you go ahead and type in the chat for your boy, did you get my message? Yep, go ahead and type that in the chat. Did you get my message? I left my message. Did you get my message? So we've already talked about how connection issues create communication issues and vice versa. And one of the things that came out of that was realizing that miscommunication is not the exception, it's the norm. As a public communicator with more than 2 decades of experience, I've learned that what I said is never as important as what they heard. And what they heard isn't always about what I said. To this day, I still live in the city that I pastored in, and my former members will come up to me and tell me all their favorite stories and why they loved me so much and their favorite sermons. And I'd say about 60 to 70% of the time, it's either something I didn't say or they recontextualize it to fit whatever they needed. You see, language is it's a medium, but it's still not complete. My words could never really tell the full story of what's happening in my mind. And on the flip side, what's happening in your mind filter my words according to your mode of priority. Speaking is easy. Communication is hard. Hearing is easy. Understanding requires work. In a world of so many voices, it's easy for others to conflate what you said with what they heard. So today, I want to highlight the importance of clarity and communication and the confirmation of reception, because it makes no sense to be connected if we're not going to be checking our messages. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear somebody say it? Did you get my message? Did you get my message? It makes no sense to be connected if we're not going to be checking our messages. Is this good already or what? All right, so listen to this. Missed messages will always lead to mixed signals, because you're here, but you're not hearing. And that quickly becomes disruption. Zernial and I had a conversation this week, and he said, hey, man, I just found like 5 emails from you in my spam folder. I'm sorry I missed these, bro. I'll read over them and catch up. And as we were talking, he mentions that he should probably be checking the spam, but he's hyperproductive like me, so it gets dropped every now and then. We both laughed about it and then laughed about missing out on opportunities, connections, and even paychecks because the email went to spam. And then he made a simple request. He said, if you email me something important, can you shoot me a quick message? That's precisely what we're talking about today. If he and I weren't so comfortable with each other, he may not have felt safe enough to say, ooh, I missed 5 of your messages. And while it wasn't on my mind, again, because we know each other's work grind, I could have easily thought, damn, Zernial is tapping out on me. But because we're connected and we care, I got to say that part again. Because we're connected and we care, when he saw the missed connection, he called it out and we workshopped the repair. I wonder how many people are writing others off based off of missed messages. Maybe you said it, but they didn't hear it. Now, side note, these are voice note conversations that Zernial and I are having. I have to say that because I do want to be mindful of people feeling left out. Nobody really gets to talk to me one-on-one. And that's actually not because I'm so special. It's the exact opposite. I'm not special at all. Other than being a creative human being, that's it. I'm not special. I do not want that weight. I do not want that pressure. I do not want your worship. I am not your hero, your savior, or your God. I am a human becoming just like you. Do not put me on a pedestal because I will knock it down, and do not hold me up higher than anyone else because I will let you down. We're in this together. So my preferred setting for meetings, until we've gotten this thing off the ground and protected ourselves from personality paralysis, my preferred mode is group settings. And everybody in the room has to be there to do something, because that's how we move from concept to community. Don't connect to this community because you like me. Don't connect to the man, connect to the mission and the message. And today, I want to make sure that you got my message. So what is the message of Bridge City Global? Are y'all ready for this? Oh, man, let's go. We have a message that isn't about belief, all right? It's not about belief. It is about becoming, okay? Bridge City doesn't offer salvation. We offer strategy, one that empowers individuals to grow, communities to flourish, and the world to evolve. Our message centers on three key themes: personal growth, community development, and global progress. Let's break into it. This is becoming without believing. One of my passions is really to help people grow beyond their fear. Like, what if your potential wasn't tied to punishment or approval, but to possibility? I'm gonna say that again. What if your potential isn't tied to punishment or approval? It's just tied to your possibility. I want to help people leave fear behind to find the freedom ahead. In many belief based systems, growth is conditional. You're allowed to grow, but only in certain directions. You can question, but only up to a point. You can change, but only if the change aligns with the belief structure you were given. And friends, that's not freedom. That's fear management dressed up as personal development. At Bridge City, we believe something different. You don't need fear to grow. You need freedom. Oh man, when fear is the foundation, growth becomes a desperate attempt to earn approval. It becomes a performance rooted in shame, a checklist of becoming worthy, not becoming whole. Instead of becoming yourself, you become others need you to be to feel surrounded. But growth shouldn't shrink you, it should expand you. Real growth starts with liberation. If you're a note taker, that's a great thing to write down. Real growth starts with liberation. Leaving superstition isn't just about dropping beliefs. It's about letting go of the fear that kept you small. Fear of disappointing a deity, fear of eternal punishment, fear of asking the wrong questions, fear of being too much or not enough. Once you shed that fear, you open the door to something powerful, the freedom to grow in the direction of your deepest truth. This is the shift from obedience to ownership. In the world of superstition, growth is often reduced to obedience. Follow the rules, stay in line, don't ask why. In Bridge City, growth is about ownership, owning your story, owning your values, owning your evolution. You're not being molded into a replica. You're becoming more fully you. That's desire. Fear may produce control, but it can't produce wholeness. And we're here for wholeness, not control. At Bridge City, we don't need you to prove your worth. We want to see what happens when you start believing in your own possibility. Oh man, you don't got to prove anything to us. You don't have to prove that you're qualified. You don't have to prove that you're better than anybody else. You don't have to prove that you told a company line. You don't have to prove that you belong on the bandwagon. That's not what it's about. We're not here to measure your worth. I just want to see what happens when you start believing in your own potential, when you start believing in your own capacity, when you start writing your own story, when you start narrating your own life. Man, go ahead and get your soundtrack together. This movie about to be dope when you can see yourself as the main character in your life. Dang, this is good. Another part of this is also the power of critical thinking. I know that for years as a pastor, that was always the thing for me is, why do I have to bypass critical thinking to get something that's supposed to be good for me? And eventually I end up realizing, like, that's why I'm not getting anything good, because I'm bypassing the critical thinking. No, you don't have to abandon wonder to embrace wisdom. Oh yeah. I have so much wonder now. Oh, I have more wonder than I've ever had before, because I realized that before I didn't have wonder. I had fairy tales. I had boogeymans. I had, you got angels and demons and ghosts and all that stuff. I didn't, but now, man, oh, I have wonder. When I look at the vast world that we live in, the vast universe that we live in, when I look at nature, when I look at the ocean, man, just breathing. Damn, you feel that? I have so much wonder about how we operate when I see people working together, that collective effervescence of people being together, that emergent property that almost feels spiritual, but really is just social, just being around together. I have so much wonder, but I do not have to violate my wisdom to walk in. I can walk in wisdom and still enjoy the wonder of the world. Thinking for yourself is not a threat. It's a gift. In many systems rooted in superstition, critical thinking is treated like a liability. You're told not to lean on your own understanding. You're warned that too many questions will lead you astray. Doubt becomes demonized. Certainty gets idolized. But at Bridge City, we believe something radically different. Critical thinking isn't dangerous. It's liberating. tagged somebody in the chat and said, did you get my message? It's not about rejecting everything. It's about examining everything. It's the muscle that lets you build your own path instead of blindly walking someone else's. This is good. So let's talk about what critical thinking really is, because it's not about being cynical or combative. It's about being curious and conscious. Dang. See, I think sometimes when we think of the word critical, we immediately go to cynical. And I'm like, man, no, when I think of critical, I think of important. I think of the criticality of a thing. No, I want to do the critical thinking. Okay. Critical thinking. It's not just me being cynical. It's not just me being combative. It's me being curious. It's me being curious and conscious. This is one of the reasons why I really don't engage people who still believe foolishness about their beliefs, because I'm not curious about their beliefs. I'm not curious about foolishness. No, I'm not even a little bit. Sorry. Critical thinking means asking why before saying yes. Oh, man. Have you ever, I want to know, because I got a sneaky suspicion that might be uncomfortable for you. I have a sneaky suspicion that most people, it's absolutely uncomfortable to ask why. But damn it, I'm encouraging everybody. No, ask why. Okay, before I say yes, I might say yes, but can I ask why? Holding space for complexity, examining not just what you believe, but why you believe it, challenging assumptions, including your own. It's a skill, a practice, and a lifelong companion in your growth journey. Superstition thrives on prepackaged answers. Critical thinking invites open-ended exploration. In dogmatic spaces, the path is paved for you. Don't step off. In progressive spaces, the path is something you help co-create, step by step, insight by insight. Bridge City doesn't exist to give you the answer. We exist to help you cultivate the tools to think deeply, live intentionally, and keep evolving. This is one of the many reasons that I didn't immediately just go into I'm gonna stop pastoring, I'm gonna be a motivational speaker now. One of the things that I really didn't like is I saw them using some of the same tools that pastors would often use, which often bothered me. Is here is a person that has never met you. They don't know anything about you, but they're going to tell you that they have exactly what you need to change your life forever. You don't even know what needs to be changed in my life to know that. And so I'm very averse. I'm one of those people. I have this little saying in my household: I don't give myself permission to know anything that I haven't actually tried to know. Oh man, I hope this is good for y'all. And so because of that, if I don't know something, if I'm having a here it is. You will never get advice from me without it starting with questions. Because these people, they're going to tell you, no, if you just do this one thing, this would change your whole life. Well, how do you just not know that I might do that one thing, but I am such a jerk that that's not going to help at all? There are variables to these things. And so I am very averse to ever telling anybody that, no, I got the answer to your problem. No, I don't know enough about you. You don't know enough about me. But what we can do as a community, we don't have to pretend that we have the answers for anybody. We don't have to be the type of people who are always saying, no, we're right. We are right. No, we're the people who are saying we're here. No, I don't have the answer for you on this particular thing, but I am here for you. I can help you cultivate the tools. We have this community that can help you get connected to some resources. We don't always have to have the answers. It's about the journey. We don't need to fear difficult questions, scientific discovery, or moral complexity. We believe that truth can handle curiosity, and so can we. Critical thinking empowers you to choose your values and not inherit them. It's like, no, these values may be good. I'll tell y'all jokingly, but seriously, in jest, but seriously, in jest, but in truth, that I'm an anarchist. I realize that about me. I'm an anarchist. It's not just that I don't, for me, I've been like this since I was a child, and I just didn't have a word for it until recently. And I'm like, damn, I didn't realize I was that. But like, I don't follow other people's rules. I've been like that since I was a kid, because I was the why. But why we gotta do it that way? What happens if we do it this way? So I've never really followed other people's rules. Now, that is not to be mistaken with I don't follow the rules. That's not what I said. I said I don't follow other people's rules, which means it's not gonna become, I'm not gonna follow the rule just because it's your rule. You tell me about this rule. I'm going to listen to the rule. I'm going to ask some questions about the rule. And then if the rule makes sense, I will adopt it as my rule, not yours, my rule, my rule. So I don't really follow other people's stuff, or at least, especially when I was younger. Then, of course, I got into Christianity and that changed, but that flipped. And so I just got that part back to me. And so, but that's why critical thinking is so important to me, because it empowered me to choose my own values, to get back to that place where I said, "Ooh, that value that you have for yourself, it sounds nice. That's really good. Let me think about it. I might not. But if I do, it will be because I chose it, not because I inherited it, not because society told me it was best, but because I actually leaned into myself and trusted myself to understand. It also empowers you to make informed decisions rooted in reality, to build a life that makes sense to you, not just to those around you. You don't need permission to think. You need space to practice. Bridge City is that space. And I believe your ability to think critically is one of your greatest human strengths. Now, let's talk about emotional maturity without manipulation. You don't have to feel less to be spiritual or social. You get to feel more and grow because of it. Superstition often taught us to suppress. In fear-based systems, emotional expression is often controlled or condemned. You were told anger was rebellion. Sadness meant weak faith. Doubt was disobedience. Joy was acceptable, but only in the right context. Many of us learn to perform peace while carrying pain, to swallow our feelings instead of sitting with them, to deny emotional truth in favor of some spiritual image. That's not maturity, my friends. That's emotional suppression, and it is damaging us. It comes with a cost. We lose the ability to trust ourselves. We forget what it means to feel fully and still be safe. Emotional maturity isn't control, it's capacity. At Bridge City, I like to redefine maturity as the ability to feel fully without being ruled by those feelings, name emotions without shame, and respond intentionally instead of reacting impulsively. I'm going to say that part again. Respond intentionally instead of reacting impulsively. We want to create space for others without internalizing or fixing everything. We don't avoid emotions. We engage them with compassion, not just for others, but for ourselves. I often remind people that emotions tell us so much about ourselves. You cannot ignore those things, or you should not. Many of us have experienced emotional manipulation dressed as spirituality, dressed as love, dressed as familial relationships. You've had the guilt trips disguised as concern, gaslighting masked as speaking truth in love, pressure to forgive before you even process the pain, praise that only shows up when you conform. At Bridge City, I do my best to resist that pattern completely. We value boundaries over blind forgiveness, validation over silence, accountability over appeasement. I believe that emotional maturity is not about bypassing pain. It's about building the skills to move through it intentionally. Yes, this can hurt. Yes, this hurts, but I can navigate. I'm going to move through this. A lot of times what life does to you, and this ain't even in my notes, so I'm going off script a little bit, but a lot of times what life does to you is that it will devastate you so bad that you will get to the place where you always believe the pain is greater than you. I'm gonna say that one more time. You get to the place where you get to the place where you believe that the pain is always greater than you, and maybe sometimes that's true. I don't want to discount anybody, but I do want to say I got a sneaky suspicion that many times you are bigger than the pain you're feeling. I just want to give that to somebody. Set that in your lap. Take it or leave it. But for somebody, I want you to know. I hope that's your word. I hope that's your message today. For somebody, you are bigger than that pain. Don't you let it slow you down. Don't you let it stop you. Keep on trucking. I love y'all. See, emotions are an obstacle to growth. They're a catalyst. Every emotion is data. Every feeling is an opportunity to understand yourself more deeply, identify what matters to you, make choices that align with your values. You don't need to hide your humanity to be respected here. Not by me. You need to honor it. We're not here to be emotionally polished. We're here to be emotionally present. Emotional maturity is about feeling with intention, responding with wisdom, and staying open to becoming more whole. And that's how we get to purpose. And you want purpose without punishment. You don't need a divine assignment to live a meaningful life. Man, when I pastored, When I pastored, churches rely heavily on volunteers to run the weekend events, right? And in the beginning, especially when we first started growing, kind of like what we're going through right now, kind of like what we're going through with Bridge City. In the beginning, it was very hard, difficult to get volunteers. And I was trying to figure out what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? We just need some ushers. We need some people who can greet the people, shake their hand, show them what a seat said, if they need to know what a bathroom or children's church is. That's all, you know? And then I started doing some type of teaching series, and my members started talking a little bit more. And what happened was, and actually, I have a course, I have not done this one in years, called Cultivating Authentic Leadership, that I ended up breaking this down in. But what happened was, for many of them, they were unsure of whether or not they could volunteer without feeling a call from God. So it's like, yeah, Pastor, I really did want to volunteer. I thought I'd be a great usher, but I ain't heard God say nothing, and I was like, oh man, this is actually not good. I realized, watch it. Why is this not good? Because now I have members, at that time, members in my church who were waiting on a freaking burning bush to decide to help their church. They needed a burning bush to be willing to open the door for somebody on Sunday morning. And I was like, wow, but that's how dangerous those type of mentalities become. You end up feeling like, I need some type of divine permission in order to have purpose. I need some type of divine call. I need to, there are so many people who didn't help out and stuff because they said, "Ooh, Pastor, I don't feel like I have a testimony, so I don't know if I'll be helpful." Like, we have been killing each other with these horrible theology. You don't need a divine assignment to live a meaningful life. You don't need a burning bush to decide to help somebody. You don't need to feel a call from God or some divine spook to say, I want to make a difference wherever I am, and I want to put my hands to the task and try something. And I think many times the reason why we think we need that divine permission is because we want a premature guarantee of success. That's what we wanted. We wanted to know. We see if I get the burning bush, then I know I'm gonna be the best usher in the world. But it's like, no, there is no predetermination of success. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing but a chicken wing. It's on. Like right on top. Okay, I'm gonna stop. But ain't nothing to it but to do it. And I think so. We often use God's spirituality and all this divine stuff as a crutch, as a scapegoat to not get embarrassed. See, that's why Bridge City is about being a better way to connect, because you find out that so many people are refusing to get in the ring because they don't want to get their feelings hurt, refusing to get in the ring because they're afraid somebody's gonna say, aha, look at you, you tried, you failed, ooh, aha. Well, guess what? We all fail. We all fail. I fail every day in front of you. Every day in front of you, I fail. Sometimes I knock it out the park. Sometimes I don't. But guess what? I've already made up the decision that failure won't stop me. Oh, you don't know who I am. No. I failed 100 times before. I fail 100 times more. I'm a fail until, man, I hope somebody's getting something out of this, man. I hope somebody's, you don't need a divine assignment. You just need to be willing to live your life. Yep, I tried it. I failed. You want to try it again? Maybe, maybe not. It's my prerogative. That's the space that I try my damnedest to create. So where do we find purpose when we stop living in fear? Many of us were taught that our purpose came from something or someone outside of us, whether it's a deity's plan, a sacred calling, or a set of moral obligations handed down through doctrine or culture. In that framework, purpose often comes with strings attached. Obey or be punished, follow or fall out of favor. But what happens when you let go of that fear-based model? What happens when purpose isn't tied to guilt, judgment, or eternal stakes? You find something deeper, purpose that's human, honest, and truly yours. You were always enough. You just forgot. You were always enough. You just forgot. Man, if I had the music director here, y'all be crying right now. Yeah. You are always enough. Like, I just want to sit there. It's not your fault. It's not your fault, man. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. No. You were always enough. You just forgot. You can probably even remember maybe your 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old self. She knew she was enough. He knew he was enough. They knew they were enough. Just forgot. At Bridge City, I believe that purpose isn't something you earn. It's something you uncover by living, loving, exploring, and contributing to what matters. You don't need to be chosen by the universe to do something meaningful. You're already capable of choosing for yourself. Your existence is enough to start building purpose from. Your passions, your relationships, your experiences, your voice. When you no longer rely on rigid belief systems to assign you meaning, you gain the freedom to follow your natural curiosities, to redefine success and service in your own terms. That was one of the most powerful things I could do as a person, was to determine what success meant to me and what service meant to me. In my old paradigm, service meant sacrifice. My old paradigm, service meant sacrifice, laying it all down on the line and taking it all no matter what. In my new paradigm, service is strategy. Oh no, I don't sacrifice no more. I strategize. No, we all in this together. I'm not about to be anybody's sacrifice. Nope, we're not doing that. I don't sacrifice. I strategize. You align your actions with your values, not someone else's expectations. You try, you fail, you adjust, and you grow without shame. Without shame. You remember when you was young and you first started pooting and stuff? Well, I mean, you've been pooting since you got here, but you know, when you became mindful of it, when there's a lot of shame. You know, you're like, oh, I'm afraid because you poop in class, poop. I can't even say the word right. I don't even know the word right. But you know, you pass gas in class, everybody gonna laugh at you. You know, that's like religion. That's like those fear-based communities. Everything you do, which is the things you do, which are the things that everybody else does. Nobody in that room has a gasless life. You know what I'm saying? Not one person, but they're all gonna laugh, and you're gonna feel shame, even though you actually have the information that they do it too. But something happens in life eventually. For some of y'all still shame. Some of y'all still shame. Eventually you get to an age where you just stop giving a damn. And that's actually, I know it's a weird illustration, but that's just the best example. I'm not going to allow myself to feel shame for anything natural ever again. No, fuck that. Failing, trying is natural. Failing is natural. Adjusting is natural. Growing is natural. And so I'm going to live my life without shame. This isn't aimlessness. It's autonomy. If I'm going to be shamed, it needs to be something that I'm truly ashamed of, not something that I'm just afraid about or what other people are going to think. That's not even genuine. That's not authentic. It's just fear. Oh, God. You want purpose that evolves with you. It's like purpose isn't a single moment of revelation. It's a living process, one that deepens as you pay attention to what lights you up, as you connect with people who challenge and inspire you, as you serve in ways that leave the world just a little bit better than you found it. And here's the key. Purpose doesn't have to be cosmic to be powerful. If it gives your life direction, connection, and meaning, it's enough. It's enough. You know? I just saw something in the chat. I'm mad at you. You're gonna make me laugh in the middle of a serious moment. Your life is not a test. You know, it's an invitation to explore what matters, to contribute what you can, and become who you're capable of being. No fear of punishment required. So what does growth look like without guilt? Let's talk about this. See, we're not here to fit in. That's one of the things that bothers me. Like, if you don't know me, you will find out real quickly that I don't like bandwagon stuff. Like, I'm really uncomfortable right now with a lot of stuff that I see on social media, but I've been calling this out since last year. If you go back and watch my video I did on leapfrogging, that was good. But I don't like bandwagon. I just see so much of that now. And then we become hyper protective of our personality, of our affinity. And it ends up creating this system where it's that march towards sameness that I talk about, where the goal is for everybody to look alike, sound alike, and be alike. And I don't want that. We're not here to fit in. We're here to build together. Spaces, especially religious ones, community often comes at a cost. You can belong as long as you behave. You can be accepted as long as you agree. You can be seen as long as you don't stand out. I am one of those people, and this is, if you've read our stuff, then you know it. I'm one of those people that firmly believe that if we're going to work together as humans, as humanity, as a global species, we're going to have to learn a lifestyle where disagreement doesn't lead to disconnection, where disappointment doesn't lead to disconnection. Man, this is good. Belonging becomes conditional, connection becomes controlled, and difference becomes dangerous. I don't like that. If you're ever in a crowd with me, you'll always notice, you'll begin to notice that I try to give everybody at the table equal attention, even if it's not my table, just because we're at the table together. Because I've noticed ever since I was in high school that when humans tend to group up, they'll hyper focus on the popular people at the table. And then the people that they don't consider popular, you start noticing that people don't make eye contact with them. I watch stuff like that. I'm a people watcher. They won't make eye contact with those people. When those people are talking, they'll try to look away and try to make sure that they're not included in the conversation. And I'm like, no, if you're sitting at the table with me, everybody's getting equal time. If nobody else is looking at you when you're talking, I'm going to look. Oh man, thank you for the donation. Thank you for the support, Mistress Monica. I love y'all so much, man. I love y'all. See, this is community built on conformity, not collaboration. You don't need to conform to be a part of Bridge City. Watch this. Here's a spoiler alert. You could actually still believe in foolishness and still be a part of Bridge City. Just don't share the shit on our platforms. That's the only thing I ask. But no, the goal is not conformity. I don't know if y'all have recognized this about me, but I always reject questions when people ask me, "Hey, what should I tell? What can I say to my Christian friends to prove them that this?" I don't do that. That's not what I do. I don't share information to mess with Christians. I share information for people. Oh, this is so good. For people who are looking for that information. I'm not going out there to mess with Christians. That's no fun for me. I'm not that petty. I can be, but I'm not. I share this information for the people who want it, not for the people who don't. Not for the people who don't, So I want to hit this with the problem with sameness. Sameness feels safe until it begins to suffocate. When a community only rewards people who look, think, act, or speak the same, it eventually pushes difference into silence. It punishes growth that challenges group norms. It protects image over integrity and loses the richness that comes from real diversity. You can blend in and still feel completely alone because you've already picked up, there are certain things can't say here. And so then this is not a real community anymore. Oh, man. At Bridge City, we aren't trying to build a space where everyone agrees. We're building a space where everyone contributes. That means you don't have to hide your evolving thoughts to be included. You don't have to conform to connect. You don't have to pretend to belong. Community should be a reflection of our diversity, not a denial of it. Your value in this community isn't based on what you believe about the supernatural, whether you use the right words, how polished or certain you sound. It's based on how you show up with openness, respect, honesty, and a willingness to build with others. That's how we move from conformity to collaboration. The bottom line, at Bridge City, community isn't something you fit into. It's something you help shape. Every person who joins this community is changing the shape of the community. You're not here to perform. You're here to participate as your whole evolving self. We're not connected by what we believe. We're connected by what we build. Did you get my message? So ain't that bridge like right there? We're connected by what we build, Traditional communities often draw their identity from shared beliefs, whether it's theological, political, or cultural. You're in as long as you agree. You're trusted as long as you repeat the right phrases. And if you question, evolve, or deviate, you risk being pushed out. There are several problems with this type of behavior. Number one, it's always foolish. This is the most foolish thing in the world because nobody agrees on everything. We can all agree on some things, sure, but nobody agrees on everything. So even when we share the same label, it doesn't mean that we agree about the same things of the label. I think I'm back. Can y'all see me? I think I'm back. Look at 27 of y'all still. Come on now. Look at that. Maybe y'all were just slow and y'all missed the disconnect, but I'm back, y'all. I don't internet just went down, literally everything, Ethernet, and I don't know how strong this signal is gonna be, but I'm waiting on my regular internet to come back, but we're gonna keep flowing. Because I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I'm old school. I've been doing this for a long time. Shoot, I done preached without the lights on at the church before. So let's keep rolling. So let's talk about the shift to shared values over shared beliefs. Bridge City does things differently. Instead of asking, "Do you believe what we believe?" we ask, "Do you value what we value?" And guess what we value? People, because values are lived, not just recited. And when we align on values, even if our beliefs differ, we can still create powerful community. Here are a few of the core values that can shape how we live, how we do life together. One is honesty. We tell the truth, even when it's hard. Curiosity. We ask questions, seek understanding, and stay open. Listen, curiosity, not assumption. Curiosity, stay open. Compassion. We treat others with care, even across disagreement. Collaboration. We believe progress happens when we build together. Autonomy. Respecting each other, each person's right to define their own meaning. And liberation. We work towards systems that free people, not control them. These values don't require uniform belief. They invite diverse expression rooted in mutual respect. Beliefs can change. Experiences can shift our worldview. But values, when chosen intentionally, they create stable ground for relationships, accountability, and vision. When we build on shared values, we create a culture that's not afraid of disagreement because our connection goes deeper than that. Bottom line is, shared beliefs ask you to agree. Shared values invite you to engage. At Bridge City, we connect not because we see the world the same way, but because we care about what kind of world we're building together. And that is so crucial. We care about the world that we are building together. You know? So shared work creates real belonging. We don't just bond through belief. We bond through building. Participation matters more than agreement. In many belief-based communities, belonging is passive. You show up, you sit down, you agree with what's said. But passive presence doesn't create real connection. Shared work does. When you build with someone, when you collaborate, create, organize, serve, or problem solve, you begin to form bonds that belief alone can't replicate. It's not about proving your worth. It's about practicing your humanity alongside others. We've built our community on shared work, not shared doctrine. This includes missional groups focused on shared interests, values, life stages, or support needs. This also includes teams focused on creating experiences, developing content, caring for members, and coordinating operations. Events and projects where people come together to plan, host, or facilitate real-time connection and collective effort. Whether it's welcoming newcomers, planning a live stream, hosting a conversation, or creating a resource. The work is the community. Man, the work is the community. It's what we do together, how we build together, how we contribute, how we collaborate. What's going on in Southern California right now is a wonderful example of what I've been championing for about a year and a half now, nearly 2 years, for what I've been championing. And that is the Bridge City model. Like last week, I gave you what the offices of Bridge City look like, but the model, like, okay, so what is Bridge City? What do we do? Our model is groups, teams, the weekend experience, and missions. All right. So Southern California is a prime example of this because you have to start somewhere, right? And this is still, I was going to say this is still chapter 1 for us, but this isn't even chapter 1. This is the preface, the preface, the epilogue. You know, this ain't even the beginning yet. But SoCal is in the very beginning, and a person tapped in, and after that person tapped in, to be the host, to bring other people together. And that's what created the first group. All right. So then there's a Bridge City group. There's a Bridge City group at that moment. At that moment, it's an interest group. But then out of that interest group, we're finding a team of people who can be responsible for helping move the group forward. All right. Now that team is already working on building the weekend experiences. So right now they have their Saturday roundtable discussions with each other. And that team is working together to help plan the Liftoff weekend and Rise event in October. All right. Which means they're effectively doing all 4 of the model of Bridge City: groups, teams, weekend experience, and mission. And of course, the mission in this case is the Rise event and the Liftoff weekend. Oh man, this is so good. So there are many of ways to get involved, but you just got to start somewhere. You're not a spectator here. You're a participant with a role, a voice, and a chance to shape something real. When you engage with others in meaningful work, something powerful happens. Walls come down, trust builds, confidence grows, and the feeling of I belong here becomes more than words. It becomes a lived reality, lived experience. In Bridge City, we don't want people to just attend. We want people to contribute because that's where transformation happens. We believe that belonging is built, not given. Purpose is discovered, not assigned, and community is constructed, not consumed. That's why we invite every member to explore their own rhythm of participation, because the act of building with others turns a crowd into a community. You don't need to agree to belong. You just need to be willing to help build. When we create together, we begin to belong together. And that's where real community is born. Whew. So what does real connection look like for you? Now, again, for those of you who are currently enrolled in Bridge City 101, that's the forum. Check it out. So let's talk about the power of people, because this is how we change the world. This is how to change the world. And again, for those of you in Bridge City 101, what I'm giving you today is basically module 2. All right? How we change the world. The world doesn't change because someone's in charge. It changes because people show up. Change doesn't start at the top. For generations, we were told to wait for leaders, wait for prophets, wait for permission, wait for the world to change once the right people were in charge. But Bridge City was never built on waiting. It was built on waking up. Literally, y'all. This is why some of you are so confused right now. This is why because I didn't wait for you to show up to start building. I didn't wait for people to show up. I just started building. I didn't wait for anything to be perfect. I just started building. I didn't wait on anybody's permission. I just started building. As I told y'all, I was actually terrified when I was doing it because I knew people wouldn't like the idea. I was terrified. But I knew that it was important to me. And I told you, I don't practice what everybody preach, but I damn sure practice what I preach. And y'all know I preach autonomy and agency and authenticity like a mug. And that's where I live. I'm doing it because it's important to me. I couldn't wait. I had to get started. I know, Darante, you cannot do everything. I know. But I can do something. I got some power. And so I'm going to do everything that I can. See, real change happens when people move, not because they're told, but because they're tired, ready, and connected. Movements are made by people, not platforms. Bridge City doesn't exist because one person had a big voice. It exists because many people had honest questions, big hearts, and the courage to keep showing up. We are a part of a global shift from faith to freedom, from silence to solidarity, from hierarchy to human dignity, from stagnation to progress. And this shift isn't abstract. It's happening in real time through real people like you. You're moving from spectator to participant. You don't have to be an expert to matter. You don't need credentials to contribute. You're already qualified to help change the world if you care about people, if you're willing to grow, and if you show up and stay curious and are open to learning and unlearning. Movements don't need perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. They need people who are paying attention and paving the way. Bottom line, Bridge City believes that people, not prophets, not pastors, not even fucking politicians, are the real agents of progress. When we organize, reflect, serve, support, and create together, we become the movement we were waiting for. You don't have to be everywhere to be a part of something big. Too often, people believe that if they're not leading a march, starting a nonprofit, or launching a viral campaign, their work doesn't matter. But real progress rarely starts on a global stage. It starts in living rooms, in group chats, in meetups, in message threads, in moments of mutual support and shared strategy. At Bridge City, we believe small acts of alignment build large systems of change. Your local action is a part of a much larger vision, and neither is more important than the other. Bridge City has a global movement of local roots. We aren't just building a top-down organization, we're nurturing a network of humans, each creating waves of change in their own context. I often have to encourage people to resist the urge of trying to police how other people live their lives. Well, if I was you, I wouldn't do it that way. Well, you're not me, so let me just do it the way that I would do it. And then if you ever decide to do it, you do it the way that you would do it. That's how you being you works. So anytime you start a sentence with "if I was you," you know that you're doing something wrong. You ain't me. Don't do that. Here's how we link local to global. Right? You get missional groups and care teams that anchor support and action in real life. You got digital content and conversations that reach minds and hearts around the world, man. We have people in Australia. We have people in Angola. We have people in Kenya. We have people all across the United Kingdom who want to be a part of this community. We are not local. We are not national. We are global. Bridge City weekends and campus meetups create local hubs for connection and change. Our liftoff weekend in October is going to be, of course, our first official meetup as a community. But Bridge City SoCal, they've already had their first time together, came together just to eat dinner together. And man, it was beautiful. I showed y'all the pictures last week. Tempted to show them to y'all again just because I want to flex, because I'm so happy. It's like, it's kind of like a proud papa, right? It's like, oh, look at the baby is coming. The baby is coming, because you see the growth. We have global strategy and shared tools that can help communities replicate and scale efforts. See, you may only see your corner of the work, but trust, you're part of something wider. Every time you lead a session, host a group, help someone feel seen, or design something beautiful, or speak up with clarity, or support with your presence, you're adding momentum to a larger system. Many of you who are a part of this movement, you're not just a part because of me, you're a part because of other people in the chat, other people in the Discord, other people in BC 101, other people in the WhatsApp that you've connected to. Progress doesn't spread by accident. It spreads because local sparks build a global fire. You don't need a global stage to make a global difference. Every local action is a building block in the global architecture of liberation, care, and community. See, we're not here just to wear the brand. We're here to build the blueprint. Movements need more than moments. Symbols are powerful. They can inspire emotion, tell stories, and create identity. But symbols don't sustain change. Systems do. Too many movements burn bright and burn out. Why? Because they built an image, not an infrastructure. They built an image, not an infrastructure. Bridge City refuses to be just another moment. We are building something repeatable, adaptable, scalable, and rooted in care, not just charisma. What we're building isn't just a brand, it's a framework. Bridge City is creating systems that empower local communities to thrive, that equip individuals to lead and not just follow, that provide support structures for personal and collective growth while replacing fear-based frameworks with life-affirming ones. We have leadership development tracks, care models for crisis response and support, digital tools for communication and education, financial models built on generosity, not guilt, group systems for gathering, serving, and growing. We're not just talking about justice, inclusion, and growth. We're engineering ways for those values to live and to last. We are cultivating the atmosphere, the environment, the breeding ground, the habitat, the ecosystem where people can connect and benefit from their connection. That's sustainability. It's not enough to say we care. Make that we care mean something when someone's getting kicked out of their house because they can't afford to pay the rent. Make that we care mean something when a child comes home and finds out they no longer have parents. That was my life. We can't just say we care. We have to invest in creating the systems of care. It's not enough to celebrate diversity. We have to design structures where differences can actually thrive. It's not enough to reject hierarchy. We have to build power-sharing models that actually work. The proof of our value is in our systems, not just what we say. Symbols inspire, but systems endure. Bridge City is committed to building communities where our deepest values aren't just believed. They're built into how we work, grow, and show up. Knowledge shouldn't just change what we claim. It should change how we build, and it should also change how we care. Because if it can't scale with care, it's not the future we're building. Damn it, I got to say that again. If it can't scale with care, it's not the future we're building. If we got to be jerks and jackasses to people, then that's not the future. It has to be built with care. And care takes time. It takes consideration. It takes compassion. It takes comprehension. It takes competence. I like C words. They're fun. So you don't have to do everything. Please don't. I know I model that a lot. I'm not modeling that on purpose. That's out of necessity. Lord knows I need other people doing things. And by Lord, I mean me. That's me. I know. No, but you don't have to do everything. But you do have to do something. Everyone has a role in a movement. One of the most common barriers to participation is the belief that you're not ready, not qualified, or not needed. But the truth is you are already equipped, to make an impact because you're already human. You don't need a platform to be powerful. You don't need a title to be transformative. You don't need perfection to be a part of progress. Bridge City thrives because people step into roles that fit who they are and stretch who they're becoming. The roles are many. It's the purpose that's shared. Members, let's think of a few ways members are already shaping change, So if you're helping making any type of content, if you're crafting stories, videos, and graphics that move minds and hearts, if you're facilitating and speaking, leading groups, hosting sessions, offering secular ceremony and support, organizers, coordinating meetups, outreach, online teams and events, supporters and listeners, showing up with presence, encouragement, and care, thinkers and planners, building systems, solving problems, and imagining what's next. The future of this movement won't be built by a few gifted voices. It'll be built by many everyday people giving what they can where they are. Your role might start small, and that's powerful. It could be joining a discussion group. It could be offering support in a team chat. It could be sharing your story in a forum or helping plan a local meetup, reaching out to someone new. But small steps lead to big shifts. Y'all have heard me say it before. Big doors swing on small hinges. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to begin. So what's your next step? Are you a builder, a helper, a thinker, a connector, a creative? Your strengths aren't a side note. They're your signal. Dang, this is so good. Your strengths aren't a side note. They're your signal. I use this analogy a lot because I think there's enough people who understand what I'm saying when I do this one. And so I'm going to gaming. Y'all know I always go to gaming. But there was a time that we literally dismissed people that were interested in games. Gaming didn't exist like that yet. That's just toys. That's just toy stuff. That's for kids. And for years, maybe decades, we made people who were interested in games feel like they'd never be able to contribute anything to society. And now we have entire gaming institutions, not just people who make games, but literally institutions where people are paid to play the games. That's what I mean when I say your strengths are not a side note. They're your signal. I just so happened to be pastoring when churches were going through the seeker-friendly phase. So one of the things that was really helpful when we were onboarding a student minister, young adult leader, director, whatever, was that they would be a gamer. No, I need you to be a gamer. Why? Because my kids, my kids that go to this church, they love games. All right. So we're gonna do Fortnite stuff. Fortnite wasn't out yet then, but we're gonna do stuff and they're gonna have fun. And that's what they did. And it wasn't my idea. Churches were doing it all over the place because what we were finding, watch this, as we evolve as a society, we begin to find out things that we thought were not valuable that somebody else knows how to make it valuable. And so a lot of times there'll be things people are afraid, parts of people that they'll be afraid to bring to the table because they're like, no, this is just a side note. Nobody else is interested in this, but you will never know that as long as you're treating it like a side note. Dang, this is good. I'm so tempted to say side chick just because it's funny, but yeah, stop treating your passions like a side chick, man. Give your passion some more love than that. Go see Go see your passions on Christmas, okay? Not just the day after. Stop treating your passions, stop treating your skills, stop treating your talents, stop treating your hobbies like a side note. They're a part of who you are. That's a part of what you bring to the table. You know, you follow them. If you're unsure, that's okay. We're here to walk with you, not ahead of you. Certainty is not a requirement. Even as long as I've been doing this and as good as I am at it, there's still days, y'all, that I wake up and say, I don't know if I should be doing this. There's still days. You know, you don't have to lead the world to help change it. Just lead where you stand. Your presence isn't passive, it's powerful. The world we're building needs your kind of contribution. And so the thing that you have to start asking yourself is, where do you see yourself in the movement? And I realize that many people have a hard time with that, not because of the movement, but it's the part that they have a hard time seeing themselves, period. You can change the suffix of that sentence with damn near anything, and it'll still be the same type of pause. So where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Just where do you see yourself? And that's why, again, our purpose is to exist as a better way to connect and to help people find better ways to connect to themselves first and foremost. You know, going back to last week, bad connections, many of our issues with others stem from our issues with ourselves. And we're gonna have to find ways, and that's what we're here to help with. Find ways of getting comfortable, of just being comfortable in your own skin. Even if that skin ruffles some feathers of other people for a while, you got to get free to be you, to breathe, to feel yourself, to understand yourself, to understand your wants, your desires, your needs, your pet peeves, the things that are disgusting to you. You need to know you. That's self-awareness. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for another Sunday Sessions today. I hope this conversation has cultivated both insight and inspiration for you and your journey. Please connect with someone before leaving, because your relationships are the real strength and glue of this movement and community. Let's keep showing the world that we can provide inspiration, motivation, support, and transformation without superstition or coercion. Also, join us for next week for There's a Method to My Madness, Part 3 of Homecoming, where we're going to be focusing on the methodology of Bridge City Global. And I got a question for you. Where are you going to be in October? Now, if you're excited about the work we're doing with Bridge City, I'll tell you exactly where you should be. You should be tapping in, registering, and planning to join me in a weekend of community building and personal empowerment. I will be in Los Angeles and San Diego from October the 24th through the 26th, working with our SoCal team. And if you're excited about that, register today. The link is in the description. What are you waiting on? Seating is limited. Get there. If you've tapped in to be a part of Bridge City, you don't want to miss this moment. Let's get there and feel what that collective effervescence of being community together actually feels like. And before you leave, explore the links in the description to find ways to connect, including joining Bridge City Global by enrolling in BC 101, joining my email list to stay updated on what I'm doing with DLDD World Group, or financially support the channel, the content, community, or the creator, that's me, through Patreon, YouTube, PayPal, CashApp, or Venmo, or you can even purchase something directly from Windows Shop. If you want to support, we want to make it as easy as possible for you, because with the way that we're growing now, we need your support to sustain the load. Your financial gifts create the pillars that lifts this bridge above the troubled waters. That's all for today, folks. I sincerely hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, until next time, keep rising and be the bridge.